This is Taking Stock on Bloomberg. I'm Pim Fox. All right, as mobile devices continue to lure customers, companies are seeking ways, of course, to stay relevant in mobile. Well, a common approach is to create an application that highlights their business services. Now, Userfinity builds mobile as well as web applications, helping companies navigate this space. Joining me now for an executive sit-down, we've got Colin Gribbin. He is the CEO and the founder of Userfinity. Colin, good to have you with us. Thanks for coming in. Explain for people that maybe are just learning about things like apps and applications, what actually is an app?
An app is like any other piece of software. And specifically, since the advent of the Apple iPhone, you've had this proliferation of applications that are purpose-built to the device in order to typically engage with device components and to create a richer user experience that you would normally get off of the web or a mobile web experience.
All right, so using a smartphone or using some kind of mobile device, maybe it's a tablet, you're able to interact with a business or some particular service that exists. Are companies jumping at the chance to become mobile, or are they waiting to see how it turns out?
No, that's a great question. It's a question we deal with every single day with our clients. Some are gangbusters. All for it. They've got a whole constellation of apps within their universe for their brand because they recognize the power of it. They recognize the advantages of integrating with all these device components like the camera and the video and Twitter and Facebook, et cetera, and others are more cautious. They're like, we're not sure what our audience is using it, how much of the smartphone market is actually going to see us on either a mobile web or a mobile app, because you have to be careful. There are lots and lots of apps out there, both the Android and the iOS markets, and not a lot of them get used, unless you make it into the top tier, you're not always used.
All right, but having said that, I'm wondering whether history of technology is any guide, that early adopters, companies that say, look, we're going to do this and we're going to get it right. We may not get it right on the first iteration or even the second, but you've got to be in it because you're not going to learn anything waiting for others to do it for you.
100%. If nothing else, get a mobile optimized website. That's what I tell my clients every single day. They are interacting with you, or they want to. And if you don't have an optimized mobile picture of your company, it's not going to be to your advantage.
What are some of the other trends in the connection between mobile applications and end users? I mean, what kinds of things? Because it's not just buying items online, it's actually interacting with a database that maybe sits, in a closet in a warehouse somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so much more. Everything is becoming mobile. And I'm looking forward to the day, I'm predicting maybe 12 to 18 months away when we're not calling it mobile anymore. It's just computing. It's 4 screens, whatever you want to call it, laptop, desktop, tablet, smartphone, all integrated into one. One OS to rule them all. And we'll let those big guys duke it out. But there's so many ways to interact and to build brand strength. That's what we're always trying to do. How can we leverage your company, your products, and get them top of mind, top of heart?
Is this stuff expensive, though? I mean, because you talk about big companies, or they've got huge budgets that they can throw at any new technology. But what about smaller companies and smaller businesses? Does this level the playing field, or is it just more difficult for them?
There's a price range for every company, and we deal with small, medium, and large enterprises across the board. Typically, for app development, you'll see anywhere from $20,000 all the way up to $160,000, depending on the complexity, going back to your point about the database integration. Because that app is just the front end. Typically, 9 times out of 10, there's a big database, just like any other client-server software out there, that is powering that is collecting all that data and pushing all that information down to the mobile.
Got to ask you about Facebook.
Yes.
The concept, the business model, that people enter their own personal information. In this case, Facebook, but I mean, you could use any site that requires some kind of registration. You really think that advertisers are going to match themselves up with that kind of user database?
I see it already. I'll be the first one to admit it. I don't typically, if ever, click on ads. I clicked on an ad a couple of weeks ago and I actually bought something off that ad. It was interactive. It was relevant because of all this information. We can go into a whole nother discussion on the semantic web and artificial intelligence, but that's probably for another discussion. But absolutely, it was relevant. It was based on what I was searching and what I needed, and I executed. So I think there is definitely a strong play there.
All right, I want to thank you very much, Colin Gribbin, joining us. She's the chief executive and the founder of Userfinity, shedding some light on the world of apps and mobile technology. All right, it's not just mobile, it's computer technology.